Next step. What I'm going to do is show you one way to work on the sky without painting our sun. I am considering introducing a product called masking fluid. If you remember my statement about gadgetry, I'm considering the cost benefit of that. But either way, it can be extremely, masking fluid can be an extremely useful thing. But I also would like to encourage you to just be comfortable with how to wet down a whole shape and then come back in with your smaller tool to wet the shape and then start bringing in some color. That can be a pain to always keep painting around something, and it can make it so it's obvious that you've been trying to paint around something, which is probably not the look you're after. I know it's usually not what I'm after. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out this peacock blue here. I'm going to wet down the sky shape except for the sun. And then I'm going to start squeezing in some of my Quin Rose to start getting some of the area pink and orangey for the future. But I'm going to do like I did for the mountains, except look at me, I'm turning the painting upside down. Yes, it is true, you can do that, and indeed I encourage that. Mostly sort of knowing which way the water's going to be flowing and which way, therefore, the paint will be flowing, and knowing which way you want the paint to shift from a lighter to a darker. This I'm pretty much just going to do some pinks, some Quin Rose, some pinks. So here's what I would do. I might start there. I know before when I was wetting, I was kind of starting at the top of the paper, which is fine too. This is clear water, so I'm sort of just going close to the lines that are drawn here that I know I want to not paint. And then I'm going to come in with my more refined tool. You could certainly also get your smaller brush out. And I'm still just defining the shape with water. And the reason I'm doing that is because I do want a really blended sort of look for the sky. My big head's not in the way there. So if it's not perfect around that sun, don't panic. If you need to panic, I suppose that's your option. But there are ways of dealing with cleaning up the sun afterwards, after the fact. So I'm squeezing in some pink, and that is just a big, watery, crazy, scary mess. So I'm gonna get rid of some of the water, and actually, usually first I will try to, if there's excess water, that's a fun phrase, but kind of true. Excess. I'll just let that water drip down. A little bit stronger pink, rose. I do want it to get up to this to the mountains here. It's kind of confusing with what's up and what's down. I'm gonna bring in my brush with some just some paint on it and dip around there just to prove to you that because I wet all the way around that sun, that the paint is not going to go there because the paper is dry. I'm tempted to try to make that a perfect oval now that I can see where, but I was just going to say I'm going to resist that temptation. I sort of did. I am going to resist. Hey, that reminds me. Never mind. I don't have my, it would be handy to have my reference photo with me right now. I'm partly going on memory and partly wishing I had an iPad. That I could bring it over on. Because printing out reference photos is problematic at best. And darn annoying a lot of times. I have a smaller black velvet brush that I'm going to add to my my supply lists in the future. It's just the synthetic small brush is helpful for some things, but it's just a little too not good enough for the kinds of techniques I want to try to do. And just, this is a number 4 of the black velvet. So it can be sort of helpful to go, oh yeah, what was I doing again? That's right, turn it right side up, and then I am doing it this way so that, well, like I think I said, the sky is going to go from a little bit lighter to a little bit darker. And it's easier to define that edge and have everything coming down this way than to have everything going down this way and define the edge and risk having it sort of overwhelm and drip down that way. There will likely be some dripping issues, but we can deal with that as they come as well. So you can see the yellow that we laid down that layer. I hope you can see it in the, I'm just dabbing in a little extra Quin Rose while I can. It's still wet and happy to take some color. But you can see where it's sort of layering in a way where it's clear where the yellow was, and it's sort of orangey pinkish, which is exactly what I wanted. And then over here it's just a little bit more straight pink, and I'm going to figure out where I want it to be sort of shifting to a violet as well. But that's the idea, and we're sort of going to keep building that up. And cool. Okay, I am going to let that dry and then decide on the whole masking fluid question, or not to mask or not to mask. Okay,